I made some offline improvements to a playback server. First, I added a playback supervisor. So this is just copying the code from space supervisor. So we use dynamic supervisor, and it takes a start link to start itself, and it will create a dynamic supervisor strategy 1-for-1, and then I'm not even sure I need the dynamic supervisor. Maybe I will if it fails and we need to restart it, but I think I would just let it maybe crash and not restart it. So here you can say start playback with a source space, a target space, starting sequence, ending sequence, and then we specify this tuple, which is the module name of the child to supervise, and the arguments. And then we can stop playback here. Here is where the supervisor is created. So here's our playback supervisor. Then in the playback server, I've made restart temporary here because when it does crash for whatever reason I wasn't exiting properly, it actually started the event stream over again, which kind of put it into an infinite loop because it would just crash because snapshots can't write the same entity twice. So it would just restart over and over again, which we don't want. So temporary prevents that from happening. It will never restart. Okay. So here's a function head that will take those arguments and pass it into the other version of start link, which takes these arguments with an autoplay true or false. So when you start it from the supervisor, we're always auto-playing it. Otherwise, autoplay is false, so that you can call next manually to page through the events as fast as you want at your own pace. Here we start the gen server with initial state. Again, it's source, target, start sequence, autoplay, and then that will go to the init function, and depending on the value of the autoplay, you will kick off a call to self called stream entry, or it'll just have all of the events waiting. If you don't have any events, it'll just exit immediately. Otherwise, you must call next in order to pop an event off of there and then call self with stream entry. If there's no more events, we need to stop exit normally. This is what I messed up before, is that if you don't provide a normal exit, it will actually raise an error and gen server or supervisor will restart it. Now I've fixed that. And here's the handle info for here. It will modify the payload and send it to the target processing the event, and then see if there's any more. If there are more, it'll call itself again. If there's no more, it will stop. So we can give this a try. We'll clear and start our server. And then we have the source, and let's create a new target. So we'll delete the old target. There's a new target. Actually, I'm waiting an arbitrary amount of time. Here's 2 seconds in between. I guess that's fine. We can jump in and wait for it. So we'll do Z. And we'll grab this. Actually, we can just jump in there. But let's grab this ID for the target. So T will be this. And then here's how we start the playback server. Start source target from 1 through 37. And we'll just jump in here. It's a clean slate. We have nothing. And we'll just observe. So we'll hit enter. And every 2 seconds something should be happening. Where are we now? We're at 7 more messages. And I think that was it. Exiting playback, so it exited normally, and that gen server should be shut down. And so those are the improvements on that. I also added a spaces function so that when we get events, we have different. This is added this one. Get event stream gets from the Postgres database, while batch fetch grabs a named batch from S3, attempts to format it in the same way, and then the new and improved event stream will check your current last evaluated sequence in order to figure out where you're going to be pulling the data from, either from the Postgres database or from S3.